Okay, we are recording. All right, so welcome. Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Danica Moore, and I am your incoming Professional Advancement Committee Chair. So, I know there a lot of the people who signed up wanted to talk about professional advancement, so I'm going to lead with that. So I apologize if you are only looking at sabbatical stuff. You can probably tune out for the next 20 or so minutes. Um, but yeah, totally up to you. I will be sending out the recording to everyone, so just wanted to mention that, as well as the slides. So those will be coming your way. Feel free to interrupt me if you have questions as we go through. I will have a Q&A session at the end, which will not be recorded. So yeah, but just realize that if you are asking a question now, it is being recorded. So, all right. So So we're going to talk about, like I said, professional advancement first, and then we'll get into sabbatical leave, and then we'll get into some Q&A. So just because I like to be collaborative, how many of you guys are looking at doing some professional advancement? I see some of you in here. I know Tiffy for sure. But yeah, I know a lot of you guys are interested in the professional advancement. Um, and some of you have already started with that process. So I just wanted to do some basic definitions of what professional advancement is. Um, Everything that we do in the Professional Advancement Committee is based on what's outlined in the contract. So professional advancement and sabbatical leaves are both spelled out in the contract. And I'll put some links in for you guys to be able to access that. But basically, professional advancement is a process that is outlined in the collective bargaining agreement. And it's for anybody who is not in class 6 on the pay scale. So can you guys see my cursor here? Yeah, you guys can see. So class 6 is all the way at the end there. If you have a PhD, then you're already at class 6. If you're like me and you started off with a master's, or if you're in vocational, then you're probably somewhere around here. Again, some of you may have gone through some of these class bumps already, so maybe you're somewhere in the middle. But every 15
Sorry
years,
to interrupt.
yeah, go ahead.
Uh, it is only the title screen uh, that we can see at the moment.
That's not what I want. Let me reshare. Thank you. I appreciate you. How about now?
Now we got the personal advancement and a spreadsheet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Good looking out. I appreciate it. I knew I pressed something. I was messing up. BT dubs, I have a hard time keeping up with the chat and seeing the screen. So if you have something that you want to ask, feel free to put a hand up or shout out. And then it looks like Jenna is here. So maybe you can jump in the chat if I'm not seeing things. So. Okay, so now you can see what I'm talking about. Class 6, right? Over here is if you have a PhD, then you started over in this area. But if you didn't, if you're either vocational or if you started off with a master's, then you are in class 0 or 1. And some of you guys may be mixed in the middle there, but every 15 units you increase from class 1, you move up a class, right? So what professional advancement doesn't do is it doesn't move you down the steps over here, right? So you're not, unfortunately, if you start off in that class 6, the professional advancement doesn't do much for you. So maybe at some point there'll be a contract down the line that can change that, but for the time being, that's where we're at. So this is the tenure track, but I also wanted to show. Can you guys see me changing slides? Yeah, we're good. Okay, so this is the adjunct salary scale. So less steps, but the same class system, right? So again, if you have a PhD, you're in class 6. If you're master's or vocational, you're starting down here. Okay, so how do I know what class I'm in? So this is something that I think is kind of challenging to find, so I just wanted to show you guys. So you go to your My Portal, you go to the employee dashboard, you click My Pay, and then go to paycheck, excuse me, compensation history down here. You click compensation history, and then you get this menu, which takes you to salary placement. And then from salary placement, you get over here where you can see oops, the grade is what they call the class. I don't know why they don't call it class, since that's what the contract says, but they call it grade. And then you can also see your steps there as well. So if you have different job codes, the job code is here. So like for faculty, I have one code, and then for my adjuncts, I have others. So any questions so far? We're doing okay. All right, beautiful. Okay, so what counts as professional advancement? So the contract outlines four basic categories of different types of professional advancement activities. You can have conferences, seminars, or workshops. There are no asynchronous conferences or workshops, so just be aware of that. If it's something that doesn't have a schedule where you have to meet, then that wouldn't count. Scholarly or creative works, professional work experience or internships, and then coursework. You can have, per the contract, for lower division, you can have 2 courses or 6 units. So there are some lower division courses that are higher than 3-unit courses. So there is a potential to go beyond the 6 units, but it's 2 courses or 6 units. And then graduate classes, extension classes that are graduate, I believe, also count to the graduate level. They do have to be in your faculty service area, the FSA, which is, so for example, I teach in chemistry, that would be my faculty service area. There are some people that take classes that are not in their faculty service area that are graduate, those wouldn't count, right? Um, and I'm happy to answer questions about individual courses to that end. And then lower division courses, you can have an additional 2 courses or 6 units in a language, technology, or DEI course. So these could be things like Chicano studies or Black studies. Could be a Spanish class, I've taken that. Technology could be coding. It could be a typing class sometimes people will take. But again, it's 2 courses or 6 units. So some of the technology courses are only like 1 unit courses. So then you could do those up to 6. Personally, if you want to maximize your courses, the language courses tend to be 5, right? So you could get up to 10 for those if you were doing the language courses. Same with the lower division courses, right? So if the lower division is in your area and there are higher unit courses, then you could kind of maximize your lower division courses. I believe there's a rule that for lower division that are in your faculty service area, that they can't be taken at your district college. So then you'd need to do like a Grossmont or Palomar or one of the other colleges outside of our district. But for the lower division, language, technology, DEI, those can be taken within the college. Any questions so far? I'm going to go through each one of these sections and look at what the contract says. But if you have any questions, feel free to butt in.
Sorry, so just to clarify, if you took 2 Spanish courses, you
Mhm.
would be able to get the total of 10 units, not 6 units?
Correct.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes, and I did just check on this with Jim Mahler, so because I am personally interested in that. Full disclosure, I am also going through this process, so I am as a chair learning, but also as somebody who is taking advantage of that, trying to learn about these things. So yes, I did confirm that that is how the language of the contract can be interpreted as 2 units or six or 2 courses or 6 units. So if the 2 courses go beyond the 6 units, you're good. So
Cool.
yeah.
Hi, Dan.
Sorry,
I have another.
Danica.
Oh,
I'm sorry. So for example, Tiffany just mentioned that if you would take 2 Spanish classes, but we can take at Mesa or we have to take at different district like Mesa at Small.
The second area here, the language technology and DEI, you're welcome to take those within the district, right? It's only the faculty service area. I think it's mainly just conflict of interest, right? So if you were taking, for me, I'm in chemistry, so if I was taking a math course here, then maybe, my faculty know me, they might, so it's just to keep that conflict of interest out. I'm sorry, there was another question?
yeah. Hi, Danica. Okay, so and just to clarify, so total you can take up to 4 courses or 12 units of lower division, but the
Correct.
first 2 have to be in your faculty service area.
You are not required to have them be in your faculty service area. I believe all of those units can be these units. Does that make sense?
Can it be anything though for the 2 lower division ones? Like any
Yeah,
class?
so the lower division here can be in your faculty service area, but is not required to be in your faculty service area if it's one of these. Does that make sense? Let me try it again.
Okay.
You have 2 sets of lower division, right? One
Okay.
of them has to be in this language technology DEI, right?
Right.
With me. The other one can be FSA, but doesn't have to be. It can also be language technology DEI.
But it's a total of 2 courses or 4 altogether?
So 4 total possible, but what they can be used for are differentiated. Does that make sense?
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Other questions?
Real quick,
Yes,
just wondering if anyone else might have taken the OFCP Teaching with Canvas Online Accessibility. It's a teaching online certification class. Is that associated with units or?
It has to be something that's accredited. So I'm not, is this an @1 course?
I'm not sure.
I think I took it, or I think I'm taking it, and I think it is a @1 course,
Okay.
like CCC @1
Mhm. Yeah,
college
so any of
language
the
course.
@1 courses, you can get credit through Fresno Pacific
Mm-hmm.
University, but you have to pay for those units in order to get that credit. There's also some asynchronous courses through @1 that don't have units associated with them. Those wouldn't count as coursework. They would need to count as like conference workshop hours.
Okay.
But I can answer like more detailed questions like that, definitely in the Q&A. But
Thanks.
any other questions about the basics here? Awesome. Okay. All right, so conferences, workshops, and creative works, they must be completed on faculty members' own time. So this is a big part. So like for example, I went to the ASI Association of Hispanic Serving Institutions conference, but it was a Sunday through Wednesday conference. And so the days that I'm taking off for work are not able to be counted as conference hours. Does that make sense? Because I'm already being paid for those hours. If you're taking a conference that, let's say, is over spring break or is on a weekend, usually not a thing, but over summer, and you're not contracted for the summer or for those summer hours, then you would be able to count that. Does that make sense? Awesome. And only hours spent in workshops or on in conference presentations will be counted. So there has been a history of Mesa allowing people to claim, the mixer hours or the lunch breaks in between that are not a part of the conference, and we will no longer be doing those. So it has to be within the scope of workshops that are presented at the conference. So and every 30 hours at a conference equals 1 semester unit. 15 hours as a presenter counts as 1 unit. So if you're presenting at a conference, you can count those hours as being worth more, essentially, than just the hours that you are attending conferences. Does that make sense? Questions about that? All right. And there's a bunch of paperwork associated with all of these things. I'll be getting to that afterwards, but I just want to kind of make sure nobody has any questions about this so far. Okay, so scholarly creative works, 1 of 4. There is a ton of stuff here in the contract. I just have the contract language here. I'm not going to read through it. It'll be there for you. Wanted to make it easy to find. But a couple of things I wanted to point out. So for scholarly or creative works, the maximum number of units that you can get is 7 1/2 or 7.5 units per class advancement, right? So if you're doing something and you say it's going to take X number of hours and it's this many units, the committee kind of decides whether they think that that's worth that many units. And then you can use up to 7.5 per advancement. If you did more than that number of units for creative scholarly works for within 1 class advancement period, then you can bank them. So then they would, once you get up to the next class scale, then they would come into effect. Does that make sense? Kind of, sort of? So each class window is 15 units, right? So this is essentially half of those units per class that you can use for this particular advancement. If you went beyond that number of units, then you would bank them for once you get up to, let's say, class 2, then you could use those, right? Make sense? All right, so there's a ton of details about what constitutes a scholarly work, but it should be reasonably within your FSA. Some people have multiple FSAs, right? So that there may be, maybe not the one that they're teaching now, but one that they are able to teach. That might get complicated. Oh, and sabbatical work is not considered compensation. So let's say you're planning to write an article or a book or doing some kind of a sonnet, I don't know, a play, whatever it is, and you're doing that as a sabbatical, you could still be able to use that for professional advancement, right? If you qualify for that. So sabbatical leave does not count as compensation, but you are expected to do this on your own time, right? You're not using your classroom time or your paid time to develop these works. Very boring stuff. Some examples of creative or scholarly works. Consultancy in work aligned with your field, publications, so textbooks, manuals, articles, works of fiction, play, songs, film, theater, media, exhibits. So I know we have somebody going out on sabbatical that's doing an art exhibit, creations of models, simulations, etc. Any questions about scholarly works before I move on? We're all right. Okay. Okay, and then professional work experience or internships. So this tends to be something I think that people in vocational areas tend to use more than faculty, or not rather than faculty, but people in allied health, people in the vet tech programs, areas like that. So that credit for work experience or internships, a maximum of 8 units, and 30 hours of work equals 1 semester credit, right? So 8 units, let me see, uh, it looks like that's total. So 8 units total. So I don't think there's any banking on this one. Jenna, do you want to back me up on that?
Yeah, I believe that is correct. It can be just 8 units, but it's throughout the entirety of your time with the district.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Any questions about that?
Yeah, quick question for that one. So if someone is an adjunct faculty at another campus, can they consider this for professional work experience?
No.
Okay.
No. So that work experience that you have at other campuses would not necessarily count towards professional advancement.
Okay.
So,
Is
yeah.
is
Has
that
to be-
clarified anywhere?
It has to be in a workplace where you are practicing your vocation, like Danica just mentioned. Let's say you teach in the vet tech program and you work at a veterinarian's office also. That work at the veterinarian's office
Gotcha.
when you're off contract can count.
Yeah, so for example, if you were art faculty and you were working at a gallery, right? Or if you're dance faculty and you also work at a dance production company, maybe something like that. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. Other questions? All right. And then coursework. So we talked a little bit about coursework. So the coursework that you can take needs to be relevant to your faculty service area, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be discipline specific, if that makes sense. So, for example, I teach in chemistry. I don't have to have all of my graduate work be chemistry classes, and I don't, because it would be much harder than some of the other classes that are out there. So anything that's specific to teaching and is reasonably within your faculty service area. So, for example, I'm not a counselor, so taking a class on counseling would not be my faculty service area, right? But anything that's about um, teaching, there's a little bit of wiggle room with what level of teaching. So a lot of the professional development classes or graduate level classes for educators are K through 12. So if it's really outside of the scope of teaching college students, then it's probably not going to get approved. But in most cases, there's enough overlap between the material in K through 12 and our teaching that it's relevant to our faculty service areas. Does that make sense? Any questions about that? They need to be accredited, united classes. And so they can't just be um, uh, work independently classes. They have to be, you have to get credits through some kind of institution for them. And you have to get a letter grade of a C or above. And you can take it credit, no credit, but you have to pass, right? Yeah. We talked about this for lower division. The lower division is over the course of your whole career, right? So you can take courses that you've already taken as long as it's been enough time. Oh, let's see. I missing the language here. There was too much to get in there, but I believe it's after 5 years if you want to retake a class. Don't quote me on that. It's in the collective bargaining agreement. All of this is, but I believe it's 5 years after you've taken a class that you can retake it, and that's again for lower division. Questions? Feelings, thoughts, emotions? No. Okay. All right. Okay, so just a kind of breakdown of how this process goes. So you choose an activity that you want from one or more of the permitted categories, and you're going to go to the professional advancement proposal form. And I will show you how to fill this out in just a minute. You'll submit the form to your department chairs once it's completely filled out. Please, completely filled out. Then your department chair and your dean will sign that, and then you will submit it to the Mesa PAC email, all in one beautiful PDF. So there's a lot of supporting documents that go along with proposals, depending on which category you're in. All of that should be in one file for the proposal. The completed proposal activity will then be approved by the committee or sent back for revisions if they think a class is not appropriate, etc. And then you complete the activity. You'll fill out the report of completion of professional advancement proposal, nice wordy form name. And again, I'll show you how to fill that out. And you'll fill that out completely. You will submit the form to your dean and chair for signature. You'll send it over along with all of the other required materials in one PDF, the exception being if you have transcripts, right? The transcripts need to be official transcripts. They need to be sent directly to that PAC email. So those do not need to be in this form. And I'll talk more about that in a second. And then if it's approved, then your class change will take effect the first of the following month after that committee meeting, right? And the compensation office, Diana Ha is fantastic. She will reach out to you directly and confirm that you are moving up and that the date that will take effect. So yeah, any questions about that so far? Very good. Okay. So all of the forms that you need, let's see, I'm going to stop sharing. All of the forms that you need are at the Mesa PAC website. And that is here. Oh, before I forget, the flex number for our workshop, I just put in the chat. Make sure if you're counting this for flex, you want to make sure that you sign up for that by today. You can put in the hours that you went anytime, but if you don't sign up for the flex workshop today, then you won't get credit for it. Okay, so this is our flex website. Everybody can see it? Yeah? Anybody? Yeah, you can see it? Good, okay.
Yes.
So the information on how to fill out the electronic PAC forms is also on this website. So if you need a quick and easy reference, it's there.
Danica, can I just
Yes.
interrupt really quick? That video right there, that's for the old form. So I actually want to remove that.
Okay, good. We'll put a new one up.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'll add that to my list. Thank you, Jenna. Okay, so our forms are here. And you're going to want to fill these out in Adobe. I have done them on my Mac, but oftentimes when you don't fill them out in Adobe, it'll lock the form and then other people can't sign it. So just be aware of that if you're having issues with that. You may just have to go back to the original form, download it again and refill it out. Yeah, the Adobe stuff is frustrating, but it's what we got.
May I ask a question? Sorry.
Please, go ahead.
Clarifying question. When this form is downloaded, it saves under the new proposal, blah, 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 2020, correct? Just want to make sure that's the most recent one.
This is the most recent one. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. We did update this this year. So this is a newer form. It's got a little bit more clarity and guidance, and has a little bit easier placement for being able to fill out all the information that didn't really fit on the old form. So okay, so you guys know all the basic stuff. The one thing that I just wanted to go over is your current faculty service area is where you're working. And then the faculty service area intended for use in this proposal. So in most cases, that's going to be the same, right? If you don't have more than one faculty service area. But if you do, then you want to make sure to specify which faculty service area this particular proposal is for. Does that make sense? That usually is confusing to people, but I think most people don't realize that you can have more than one faculty service area because we don't. So, and then is this proposal under the rules of vocational instructors? So unless you are a vocational instructor, you're probably going to put no. You're going to put the number of units in the proposal and whether or not it moves you from whatever class you are to the next class. Now, unfortunately, the website tells you what class you're at, My Portal, but it doesn't tell you how many units you have banked towards the next class or how many you need to get to the next class, right? So if you want that information, you have to actually email that department, the compensation department directly. Diana, I'm putting it in the chat. Ha is the person who works in the compensation office, and she is a treat, but she is completely inundated. So just be aware that it's frequently takes a little while for her to get back to you, but once she does, she's really good at being helpful. So, but I don't know if there's anybody else that works. I think it's just her. So yeah, just be gentle. But if you want to know how many units you need to get to the next class, that's the person to talk to.
I have a question.
Please.
So if you haven't filled out this form for classes you've already taken, do you still have to submit this form?
Yes. Yeah. So for classes that for classes to count for professional advancement, they have to have been taken since your hire date. So
Right.
classes that you took before your hire date should already be in your compensation package. But yes, so in order to you have to do a proposal first and then a completion. So you need both.
Okay, even though you've already completed the class.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can submit the proposal and the completion at the same time.
Together.
And
Okay,
frequently
perfect.
people do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you choose which of the areas you are completing or your proposal is for. You can do more than one in a given proposal. And then the area that you're working towards is what you really want to pay attention to and read the directions, right? Coursework is the most common thing that we see. So the main thing is putting in the college name, department, start date, course number and name, the units, and then the level. And then if you can total those out for whatever units there are here, and if there's a degree that you're earning, you can put that here. If you're not earning a degree, then you don't need to put anything there. And then this area is for a description of why you're taking those classes and how it relates to your service area, right? So essentially a justification of why you think these courses are courses that are within your faculty service area or that help improve your teaching in some way, right? And then
if I can just ask a quick question.
Yeah.
You mentioned being able to submit multiple ones at the same time.
Yes.
Just to clarify, you can submit multiple courses that you're proposing or completing, but not, for instance, multiple projects, workshops, scholarly works. Is that correct? I feel like I've encountered that somewhere.
You can do both of those things. right?
That could all be as one proposal.
All
It
in
could
one.
be
Yeah. It
scholarly
might get
work and workshop and
No,
courses.
I think Jesse, you're asking, can you put scholarly works and coursework on the same proposal? Is that what you're asking?
yes.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
you cannot.
I've heard otherwise.
Okay.
No, we've never done that, Danica.
The other
Oh,
schools
it
allow
gets too confusing if you put conferences, courses, scholarly works all on the same proposal. They need to be separate. So that's why you have to choose one of the categories on the proposal. It will only allow you to check one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
There it is.
I have
Sorry.
a related question to that.
Sure.
For coursework, like
Mhm.
say you want to do coursework, can you have coursework from many different places? So if you were doing
Yes.
Yes.
like, a Spanish class at Mesa College plus,
Yeah. You can put coursework from different institutions all on the same proposal. That's fine.
Yes, Bess.
If I took an entire master's degree in educational leadership, do I need to put every single course that I took? There's 30 units, or can I just put the Northern Arizona University and then the Master of Education in the course name and number?
Everything.
Every single class. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I have a question, Danica.
Go ahead, Grace.
I took like a strong inventory certification and it received like 30 hours or
Mhm.
30 hours. Is that considered coursework or professional work experience?
I think it would go under conference or seminars, workshops. That would be my.
Oh, okay. I'll put under
Am
that one.
I wrong about that, Jana? That's where I would.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what it was. So can
The
you say it
question was
again?
about a certification program that gave 30 hours. I would put that under conferences, seminars. It's
What
not
was it
coursework.
for, like for your FSA or?
Yeah, so we did like the strong inventory certification.
I don't
like
know what that is.
It's
but
like a career. It's kind of similar to the MBTI, Myers-Briggs
Okay, yeah, that sounds like it would be, conference, seminar, workshop.
conference. Okay, thank you.
And you could talk more with your department chair as well, because you should be working with them to make sure that they think it's within your faculty service area, right? That's really why the deans and the chairs are signing off on this, is to make sure that they're verifying that this work is in your faculty service area, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
I see Bess and then Espen.
One more thing. I took 10 courses, so there's only 6 courses to enter.
So you need 2 forms.
2 form. Thank you.
You can, I don't know if you're a whiz at editing, you could probably just
I'm not.
take up if I was doing this, I would probably just do 2 separate because I don't know how to do that. But
If
yeah,
it's all for one degree, Bess, from the
Yes.
same place, you can attach just like one separate sheet of paper for the additional courses and make sure you attach that to the PDF.
but it needs to have all of the same information that's in the
Yes.
coursework section.
If you're getting a degree or certificate, it must list every single course individually somewhere on the proposal.
In the same format, so it's easily
Yes.
readable. Okay,
Exactly.
thank you.
The original application had 10 slots for each course,
Yes, it did not
or
have
the old one.
it did not have enough room to write all of the things that needed to be there though, which is the
I
problem.
see.
So, Espen,
Good morning, Danica. Thanks.
hi, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. I have 2 questions. Hopefully, they're relevant. One is I've taken certification, but it's not through a university. It's through a institutional. So for state certification, basically in therapy, different therapy techniques, et cetera, that are relevant to the coursework I teach.
Mm-hmm.
Would I list those as conferences since they're not an accredited university, but a college board? Or I'm sorry, a state board?
I would think yes.
Okay.
Jana, do you want to back me up on that?
Yes, it sounds like it, but again, it needs to be something that was not just done like online asynchronously. There has to have been like a schedule and a date and all that.
Yeah,
You have to provide that.
Yeah, this is over the course of a year, 6 weekends, et cetera, in person. So
Yeah. Okay.
And then the
And that
second
sounds
question.
good.
Thank you. The second question, you may have already gone over this, is the placement levels. I know where I am, but I don't know what the next level up would be or how to get there.
Right. So that's where you want to talk to Diana Ha, or just email the compensation office.
Yes.
They're the ones that have that information. Unfortunately, we can't access that directly. So
I put their email in the chat.
Beautiful.
The whole department checks that email daily. So if it's not Diana, someone else from the department can also check that information and get back to you.
So I'm going to go ahead and Masuma, I know I see your hand up there, but I'm going to move the questions towards the end because I want to make sure that we get through everything. So I apologize if anybody has any other questions. I'll definitely address those at the end. But yeah, so again, any supporting documents that are listed under the section, make sure that those are given in the proposal and that they are a part of the same PDF. So, so that is the most important thing, is that you have all of the information there. So for example, for coursework, you're required to have the course description, the official course description from the course catalog, right? So you can take images of that, but it needs to be in the proposal for every single class. I'm sorry, Bess. So that is the proposal form. And then getting into the completion form looks very similar. The few things to note here, you need to have your original proposal date, so make sure you hold on to those proposals if you're not submitting the completion at the same time, because it's really important that we be able to reference the original proposal when we're looking at the completion. And then if you've completed part or all of it, right? So in some cases, you're submitting just to get over to that next class, but you haven't completed all of the work on that proposal, then you would just go ahead and say that you've done part of it and how many of the units are in this particular completion would go here. Again, the official transcripts may not be attached to this sheet, right? It's official transcripts need to come to the Mesa PAC email directly. And you'll still need your signatures there. And then if it was some other scholarly work or something like that, then it would just need to be the sections that are listed here for that professional development category, right? And again, all as one PDF. So, any questions so far? We're all right. Okay,
Sorry, I had a kind of going back to the conference. I was stepping away for a second, but for the conferences, can you explain again how I can count 30 hours worth?
Yeah,
of...
let's talk about it at the end. I want to get into sabbatical leave
Oh,
'cause,
okay.
you know, there's a lot of people that are here specifically for that. So I want to make sure to give them some time, not equal time, but some time at least. And then we'll have a Q&A at the end. So sabbatical leave, you have the right to this to be able to apply for sabbatical leave, and that is available to full-time tenured faculty or adjunct faculties with POA, right? So that's who is able to do sabbaticals. So adjunct and faculty, which is not common. Not a lot of schools have adjunct faculty sabbaticals available. Not all schools have sabbaticals at all. We are one of the few community colleges that have this available. So it is a pretty cool thing that we have. The one of the big things that I point out that you need for sabbatical leave is it needs to benefit students, right? We are a community college, and any work sabbatical wise that you're trying to do, your application should be focused on the benefit to students. So you have to have tenure, and you have to have had 6 consecutive years of satisfactory service. So no unsatisfactories on any of your evaluations. And then once you've taken a sabbatical, you're ineligible for 6 years, right? So basically, As tenured faculty, you have to have had your 6th year, and as POA, you have to have had your 6th year and not having taken a sabbatical in the last 6 years. Does that make sense? I'll take your silence as approval. All right, so there's a couple of different types of sabbatical leave. So you can take a full academic year at 50% of your normal base pay. You can take first semester, so that would be a fall semester at 100%, or the second semester at 100%. There's 2 non-consecutive semesters with a total within a 36-month period at 50% in each semester. I've never seen this one before, but if you have questions about that, we can talk after the fact. Most people are looking at either a full year or a single semester. In terms of the schedule for the 2026-2027 faculty sabbatical leave application, so this coming spring is when we'll have the application process start, and then the applications are for that 26 to 27 school year, right? I know it's scary to have those those numbers out there. At least I'm intimidated by 2026, 2027. February 26, 2020, February 20th, 2026 is the deadline to submit to your school manager, right? And there are, hopefully, if you're considering doing this, that you'll be working closely with your department chair, or if you're the department chair, then working with the dean or your other faculty in the department to figure out, you know, what that looks like and if it's possible within your department. And then Friday, March 6th, 2026 is when the applications are due to the Professional Advancement Committee. So that means completely, perfectly filled out sabbatical applications, right? So if there are things missing from your sabbatical application, then they may not be considered or they may be declined, right? So it's really, really important that if you have questions about your application, that you touch base with me before that date, right? That's not the date when you start asking questions, right? That's the date when it's done. So I don't know if we get busy, right? Things get left off to the last minute, but your sabbatical application, hopefully, ideally, you can work on it during intersession if you don't teach then. But definitely you don't want to leave that to the last minute. Any questions about the timeline for that? Or about the types of leave? Okay.
Can I just add one thing, Danica?
Sure.
Okay. It's really important that you yourself as the faculty member do the emailing of the completed application to your PAC chair. Do not leave it to your dean's secretary or your dean or somebody else, because that's when things don't get done. And we would hate for you to find out after doing all the work and, you know, getting everything done that your application was never received. So
Yes.
do make
Use your
sure that
responsibility.
you
Yes.
take responsibility for that.
Yes. All right. Yes, POA, priority of assignments for adjuncts. Okay, so the different categories. So you can take sabbatical leave for coursework. You have to have a full course load. For retraining, this tends to be more in vocational areas, but you know, I've seen examples of some retraining if there's new software packages or something, new best practices, other things like that that are coming down the line, and you want to kind of relearn about that. But retraining tends to be more of a vocational. So this is the big category: teaching, learning, appropriate instruction, and student services activity. Research, I think, is pretty straightforward, but we'll go through each of the sections. So teaching, learning, and appropriate instructional and student services activity. So you could develop a new or revise an existing course program, a certificate or degree, technology mediated instruction or course programs. So if you want to introduce new technology, infusing global concepts or courses, evaluate the effectiveness of teaching. So if you wanted to say, implement some new big thing into a course and you wanted to track that, the effectiveness and do the data analysis of that, you can do that. Develop or implement new student success initiatives, programs that improve student success or achievement of learning outcomes. I think doing some OER has been under this category. There are a lot of things that can come under this category. OER, Open Educational Resources, or ZTC, zero textbook cost. But yeah, lots of things fall under that category. So the sabbatical application leave, for the sabbatical application leave, you need at least 2 things for the application, at least 2, right? There's often more things depending on which category you're looking at. So you need to have a completed and signed sabbatical application form. Again, that's located on the website under the forms. So that needs to be completely signed, completely filled out and signed. And then you need the completed sabbatical application, including but not limited to the abstract and the plan section, which I'll talk about in a second. Depending on the type of activity, the collective bargaining agreement has a lot of guidance on what specifically needs to be in each application for each section. So definitely the CBA, the contract, is a really helpful resource to you. And you can find that by just putting in SDCCD collective bargaining agreement. It should pop up really quickly. It's kind of hard to find on the website. You have to click the link. Anyways, I'm happy to upload the file in the chat at the end, or email it to you if you want. Okay, so for the abstract, you need to provide an abstract of about 100 words. Don't go crazy, but it needs to be focused on the need for professional growth, sabbatical activities, what you plan to do, anticipated outcomes, so what are you trying to produce, and how you're going to measure the evidence of your outcomes, and the benefit to the district. And again, I think infused in all of that should be the benefit to students, right? And then the plan is the bigger part, right? This is a full description of the proposed activity for the sabbatical leave. And there's 6 items that are listed below that need to be included. That'll be on the next slide. So as you prepare the plan, make sure that you're working closely with your department chair and your school manager prior to these deadlines, right? You want to make sure that they are on board with whatever you're doing so that you know that they're going to sign off on it, right? Don't surprise them. So those 6 sections you need, so the need for sabbatical. So you need to justify why this is something that that you think is necessary, how it will benefit students, colleagues, the college, personal growth, etc. Your description of the overall plan. So you need detailed action plan consistent with your statement of purpose about the nature of the leave. You need objectives. So what do you plan on accomplishing and how will you measure it? Evidence of completion. So what is it that you're going to show us as evidence of completion? For some sabbatical leaves, it's really straightforward, right? If you're taking coursework, then it's transcripts. But for others, it gets complicated, right? So making sure that you have both a plan and something that you can show for it is really important. And I'll tell you why, because if you can't produce evidence of completion, then you have to pay back your whole sabbatical, right? You have to pay back 6 months worth of pay. So the committee tends to, if there's not evidence of completion and a very complete plan, then your application will probably receive a 0. And I'll talk more about the scoring in just a second. Relevance to your current assignment, and then a timeline. So detail in the timeline is really, really important, right? Making sure that you're explicit in the plan for how you're going to accomplish something, what you're going to do on a week-to-week or a month-to-month basis to accomplish your goal. Okay, so evaluation, that's I think the part that most people are most concerned with. So once the applications are completed and submitted to the Professional Advancement Committee, they will be evaluated blinded, right? So all names will be removed, and that happens at the, I believe it's the second meeting in March, first meeting in March. The March deadline was the 26th, so I think it must be either the first week of April or the last week of March, depending on the year. And then applications are evaluated using the evaluation sheet. I'll show you that in a second. And in order to be considered, applications must be complete. They must demonstrate a clear benefit to students. They must have sufficient detail, clarity of a plan. They must be approved by the appropriate higher-ups. There are some types of activities that require a VP or the school president to sign off on them, so you need to be attentive to that. That's all spelled out again in the collective bargaining agreement. But if that's the type of activity that you're doing, please make sure that you do that ahead of submission, because if you don't, you won't be approved. And you need to have clear, tangible outcomes or evidence of completion. Applications that don't meet these criteria will be scored as a 0. Okay, so that's essentially denied, right? And this is our evaluation sheet. So in terms of the scores that are not, applications that are non-zero scoring, basically meaning that they've fulfilled all of those categories, will be ranked using this sheet. So each individual committee member will put in their scores, and then they will be tied together and discussed at a tallying meeting, and we will form a ranking of the applications that is unanimous amongst all the committee members. So everybody has to agree on the ranking. Ranked applications will then be awarded sabbaticals in order of rank, right? So first ranking will get the first award, second, etc., until all sabbatical applications are awarded, or we run out of sabbaticals, right? Whichever comes first. The last few years, Mesa has received 8 sabbaticals, but the number of sabbaticals is outlined in the CBA and can change based on the number of faculty. It usually doesn't vary wildly, right? So maybe 7 or 9, but that's kind of the ballpark that we're working with. So, a couple of notes. Just because we have sabbaticals available doesn't mean that the committee must award all of them. Some years there are extras that are not awarded. That's just how the game goes. Some years we have 20 applications and some years we have 3. It's completely dependent on how many applicants are there and that they qualify, right? So they need to be non-zero applicants to be considered. Sometimes the extras are given to other colleges who have overflow applicants, and sometimes we receive their extras, right? So again, just depends on what the applicant pool is like and how many viable applications we have. The sabbatical application is very competitive, and the quality of your application is how we rank them, right? So please make sure that you are attentive to that and the detail in your application as you're developing that, because that's how the ranking works. So if 30 applications are qualified, and yours is ranked at 15, you're not going to get one, right? So that's kind of how things work. And once the leave is approved, it goes to the VPs and the president to sign off. Applicants are notified. Applicants that are not approved will be notified. If they're sabbaticals that would not have or that were scored as 0, essentially, then while we're not required to give feedback, I will put together a summary of the committee's notes on why that sabbatical was not awarded and how somebody might improve the application going forward. Yeah, I think that's it. Sorry, I went a little bit into overtime. I got pretty fast there at the end. So, questions about sabbatical leave applications?
Of the different categories that you have, is there one, is there one that kind of gets more emphasis?
Um, It really it varies so greatly year to year. So sabbatical applications, I see you, Chis, I'll get to you. Sabbatical application pools are so varied from semester to semester. Like for example, last semester they were almost all OERs, ETC, right? It's just completely depends on the semester. But the semester before that, that was not the case, right? They were a lot more varied. So no, it's as simple, the short answer to that
Well, I
question.
think my question is more on what is there a committee preference to the type?
No, no. I mean, again, it should be non-subjective in terms of what is valued, right? It's about the quality of the application and the relative need, right? So, for example, in terms of ranking, if your application clearly benefits an entire department or the entire school, then that might rank higher than something that only rank helps your class. Does that make sense? So, yeah. I'm sorry, Anna Marie?
Yes. I applied for a sabbatical several years ago and it was denied. Is it
Okay.
possible to get notes on an old application to see how to better improve my next application?
I do not have that information, and I don't know that even that information exists. Um, but if you have the application and you want to come to my office hours, I can kind of talk through what I think.
Okay, that
Yeah,
sounds good.
yeah. Chis, did you take off? No, you're there.
No, I'm still here. My question was, since you're getting paid, are you also going to be eligible for your health care? Will that be?
Yes, I did see that question, and the answer to that is yes.
Thank
Yes, you you are still an employee of the district during that time period, and you're eligible for all of your benefits, everything. Yeah. I'm not making things up, right, Jenna? I'm good. Okay. Anar, go ahead. Sorry.
Thanks so much, Danica. This is super informative. So I know it went a little bit fast. You said that you do have office hours and you're available if we wanted to kind of go through the process
Yes,
or,
yes.
or parts of our application with you and get feedback from you as we're writing it.
Yes, and I'll be sending out annoying email reminders frequently because I'm trying to keep as much of my workload as the PAC chair in person because I just think it's easier for everyone. But I don't have the bandwidth to have back and forth email conversations about a lot of these topics.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so yes, I'll have
times for us basically.
yeah. So Friday from 1 to 3 every week, right? So I'm here for you. But I want to try and do as much of that work in person or at least remotely via Zoom. Conversationally is basically what I'm saying because the email back and forth is really challenging with some of these topics. So
Thank
Yes,
you so
and I will remind you of those. Yeah, thank you. Christina, go ahead.
Hey, Danica, thank you. When is the deadline to submit for the professional advancements form?
So the professional advancement deadlines are the Wednesday before committee meetings. So we meet the first and the third Wednesday of every month. So for example, our first meeting is September 3rd. The deadline ahead of that is August 27th at 5 p.m.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Tracy.
Hi, Danica. Thanks for the information on everything. It's been great. You're saying that this is for the 26, 27, and the application's due in March. Do we request if we want the fall or the fall or the spring off?
That's
Or
correct. That would be.
so does that
Yes,
matter either? I mean, as far as numbers, you have 8.
No,
Is
no,
it-
that doesn't
okay.
have any effect really on the prioritization. It may be something to discuss with your chair, right? There may
Okay,
be,
right.
you know, that those would be the people who would be really concerned with that. But as far as we're concerned, no.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Do you mean to be sharing screen here? Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.